Hey there, it's Adam Franklin, the co-author of the book Web Marketing That Works, which I wrote with Toby Jenkins earlier this year. Now this is video 2 of a 3-part series where I'm teaching you the basic foundations of how to use social media for business. So today's tutorial is on how to handle negative comments, but let's recap what we learned on video 1. Video 1 was all about how to document your social media strategy, and we took you through the social media planning template. And the goal of that session was really to not only document your buyers and the content you're going to publish for them, but the content you're going to publish for them so that they can solve their problems. Because everything you publish on social media should be about helping people get to know, like, and trust you. And what better way to do that than helping them solve their problems? So being generous, sharing what you know, and helping your buyers ultimately reach the decision to hopefully do business with you. Just like with video 1, what I'm going to teach you today is exactly what we teach our private corporate clients. And it's exactly what we teach in our private workshops. So we're going to take you through this template, the negative comments response template, which of course is a free download right below this video. When I speak to audiences all around the world, typically the biggest elephant in the room is what happens when I get negative comments. Because so many things can seem like they're going wrong. People might be saying bad things about you. You might have comments that are going on online that you don't even know about. But if you watch video 1, you'll know how to monitor what's being said about you using, just as a recap, Talk Walker Alerts and Mention.net. But there will come a time and a place where there is a negative comment written about you and your organization. And the good news is that today's tutorial will teach you exactly what you need to do. So let's get started. So we're going to go through the 6 different categories of comments that you'll encounter on social media. There's 6 of them, and luckily the first one is positive. Now, the world would be wonderful if it was all positive comments, and I describe a positive comment as anything favorable. For example, my burger was awesome. Now, the response to this is easy. Just like you would in real life, you would normally just say thank you. But this is an opportunity that too many people leave on the table. Because they see a positive comment and they think, well, that doesn't require a response, they let it slide. But what you're leaving on the table there is a prime opportunity to connect with somebody who is a customer or a potential customer. So when you do get positive comments, please use it as an opportunity to say thank you. The second category of comment is a neutral comment. So we describe this as neither good nor bad. So for example, I'm having lunch at this particular restaurant, or I've just walked into this particular shop. So it's not positive, it's not negative, it's neutral. And again, this is another huge opportunity that people leave on the table because they just see it as a comment. Whereas really you need to be viewing it as an opportunity to be starting a conversation with somebody. An opportunity to say, wow, that's great. What are you going to order? Or that's great. What brought you into the shop today? And every time that you can show a little bit of love to your potential buyers and your existing customers, the more that relationship with them is going to strengthen. And if you can be doing this day in, day out via social media, and week in, week out, you're going to be getting stronger and stronger relationships with people who are your customers and people who are your future customers. So that's where positive and neutral comments are so valuable, and particularly valuable because most of the time we overlook them. So then the third category of comment is a negative comment that you respond to. Now this is actually 99.9% of the time. So how I describe this is a genuine negative comment from a real person who's either a buyer or a potential buyer. For example, my burger was cold and took forever. So an appropriate response to this is to acknowledge, apologize, and act. The 3 A's. If you do this, then you'll actually resolve nearly all of the situations where you've got a genuine negative comment. Most people just want to be heard. Most people just want to know that you care and that you are doing something to resolve that problem. So acknowledge that they've made a comment, apologize, and then act. And the 3rd A, act, is the most important because it shows that you care enough to do something about the situation. And when it comes to negative comments, we always recommend, actually we always insist that you take a screenshot of what's been said. This is good practice always because you do want a record of these situations. It's ideal to take a screenshot for the positive and neutral comments. It's not essential, but for anything negative or crisis, then it's important to take a screenshot. So the actual way to go about responding to a negative comment, I've said the 3 A's, but literally what that looks like is if they leave a negative comment on Twitter, reply to them as soon as you can on Twitter, acknowledging the problem and trying to take that issue offline. Not necessarily literally offline, but off the public forum. So you might then say, if it's a Twitter comment, let's DM me and I will help you solve the problem. And then once you get it onto a DM, which is a private direct message on Twitter, you might then take that to email. But it's important to close the loop once that issue has been resolved. You could then go back to that original public Twitter comment and say, hey, that should all be fixed now. Let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. Because you want to be showing publicly that not only do you respond to the comments, but you actually go about fixing them as well. So if you can close the loop publicly, not only does that show people that you care, but it shows overall that you actually take action as well. And that's really important. Okay, so the 4th category of negative comment is a negative comment that you ignore. Now, can you think of an example of this? It's very rare, but it does happen. So what I'm talking about is a comment by a troll. So a troll is an internet troublemaker. They go around antagonizing people, and what they crave is attention. If you give these trolls the attention that they crave, they just engage you in an argument, and there's no real winning solution here. The best bet with trolls is to ignore them. Deprive them of the attention that they crave, and they will move on to annoy somebody else. But an example of a troll comment might be, burgers are evil and so are the people that ate them. It might be, this company is a fake. Don't trust this company. They're no good. So they're not even a real, a genuine buyer, a genuine customer. They're just people out to stir you up and to cause trouble. So as with all negative comments, please take a screenshot, potentially warn the troll, potentially block them if necessary, but the best advice I can give is just to ignore them. And hopefully your community won't come to your defense in this particular situation. What's common is that people will come to your defense and will actually give the troll the attention that they're craving. And this is wonderful it's wonderful to know that your community will stick up for you and come to your defense, but your community does need to be trained to be able to identify a troll so that they know when to deprive them of that attention. So just ignore the trolls and encourage your community to ignore the trolls as well. The 5th category of negative comment is a negative comment that you will remove. Now, deleting negative comments is nearly always a no-no because it throws fuel on the fire and it antagonizes the person who has left a negative comment. The only time it's appropriate is when the comment is offensive, malicious, or off topic, aka spam. And it's in these situations that you're well within your rights to delete that comment from, say, your blog or your Facebook page. If it uses language that you don't approve of, if it is offensive to people within your community or offensive to you, you may remove it. And the best way to actually make this clear to your community is via your house rules. Now, your house rules are literally that. They're rules of the house. So just like in your own home or in your own office, you expect a certain level of behavior. And if people don't adhere to that, you would typically ask them to leave. And in extreme situations, you would ask them not to come back as well. Exactly the same is true on your blog and social media platforms. If you clearly state your house rules, and some very good examples are Tim Ferriss, Mamma Mia, and Coca-Cola, and I'll read them out for you in a second. You can then, if you get a malicious, offensive, or off-topic comment on your social media sites, you can screenshot it and then delete it, and then notify the people in your community that you have deleted this particular comment because it contravened the house rules, and this is the level of behavior that we expect online. And if you do that, it really sets the standard for the other people in your community as well. So let's have a quick look at the Tim Ferriss, Mamma Mia, and Coca-Cola house rules. Our house rules at Blue Wire Media state, thanks for your interest in our page. We really appreciate you leaving comments, photos, videos, and links. However, we will review all comments and remove any that are inappropriate or offensive. Thanks again for sharing and contributing, from Toby and Adam. And here's an example of Coca-Cola. This is your fan page, and we encourage you to leave comments, photos, and videos here. However, we will review all comments and we will remove any that are inappropriate, offensive, or contain external links. We leave what you share that relates to the subjects covered on this page. Please understand that comments posted to this page do not represent the opinions of the Coca-Cola company. And Tim Ferriss says on his blog, remember what Fonzie was like? Cool. That's how we're going to be. Cool. Critical is fine, but if you're rude, we'll delete your stuff. Please do not put your URL in the comment text, and please use your personal name or initials and not your business name, as the latter comes off like spam. Have fun, and thanks for adding to the conversation. And he acknowledges, thanks to Brian Oberkirk for the inspiration. You'll also see the Mamma Mia comment guidelines, aka the house rules. Imagine you're at a dinner party. Different opinions are welcome, but keep it respectful or the host will show you the door. We have zero tolerance for any abuse of our writers, our editorial team, or other commenters. You can read a more detailed outline of our commenting guidelines here. And if you're offensive, you'll be blacklisted and all your comments will go directly to spam. Remember what Fonzie was like? Cool. That's how we're going to be. Cool. Have fun, and thanks for adding to the conversation. So there you've got a handful of different examples of social media house rules or comment guidelines that you can tailor and adapt to your business. And the sixth category of negative comment is what we call a crisis comment. And the description for that is any type of comment where there is legal or criminal ramifications. If there's something that's defamatory, if there's threats of violence, if there's leaking of confidential information, or any other type of comment that may need to be escalated to police or legal. In these situations, it's always important to have a process in place. You cannot foreshadow all the different types of crisis situation, but you do need to know what happens in the event of one. On a Facebook page one time, we asked a very innocent question, but the comment that came back was sexually explicit and violent. And because of this 6-step classification process, the situation was able to be dealt with very quickly. The comment was posted, it was identified, it was screenshotted, and because there was threats of violence and it was sexually explicit, it was escalated to the police. The police had actually been watching this commenter, and they went and arrested the commenter, and he spent the night in jail as a result of this Facebook comment. But because this 6-step classification process was in place, it was all done and dusted within 24 hours, and everybody knew exactly what they needed to do. So again, take a screenshot and escalate it as soon as possible, and then follow the directions and advice of the police or of your legal team. So that's an example of a way to handle negative comments on social media. What you'll notice on the flip side of this template is that there's empty blank spots ready for you to fill it in for your own organization. So that's what I'd like you to do now. Take your pen, take the printout of the response template, and fill it in for your own organization. You'll notice that we have added a column on the far right called Who's Responsible, because it's really important to document who in your organization, maybe it's you, is responsible for each of these categories. So thank you for watching this tutorial on how to handle negative comments on social media. I hope you found it valuable. And if you've got any questions, I would love it if you could firstly hit like below, but then ask me a question in the comments. One of the most common questions I get though is, how do I get my team on board, and how do I make sure that everybody plays by the rules and everybody knows what they can and can't do and how they're meant to be embracing social media. Now the good news is I'm going to cover that in the third video of this series. So stick around.